Hi, YouTube fans. This is Matt of Post April 6th YouTube channel. Right now, I am a little past 12th Avenue, and I'm on a north-south street that is a couple of blocks away, or 3 blocks away from Fillmore. It's east of Fillmore. And I'm doing a nice nighttime stroll. I know it's pretty dark, but this is the best I can do. I switched the camera settings to high definition. This is the best lighting I can get. Okay, I'm back again. I'm on 3rd Avenue, and I'm going down 3rd Avenue. And look at all this stuff. Look at all these buildings. Really nice. Really nice. Yeah, this area is so special and it does so good. It's gonna survive the thick and the thin. I think it's here to stay for, geez, probably at least 35 years. 25 anyway. And there's more buildings being built. You know, buildings have been torn down, and newer, more classy, more architecturally correct and beautiful and exquisite. You know, all the favorable terms.
I was like, that show? But I do know that her husband ended up in jail.
Yeah, I'm heading to 1st Avenue here pretty soon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on the opposite side of the street. It's going to be this side of the street instead of that side of 1st Avenue. Meaning the south side. So I can give a real clear view of what was demolished. And the demolition work of that whole thing. It's more than Sears. It's the, I think it's a Crate and Barrel store. Is going to be totally demolished. And it's going to be part of Cherry Creek West. Whew. Oh, you're gonna be stunned at what I'm about to show, even though it hasn't been built yet. Whoa. Look at all that. Whew. Boy, there's going to be a huge one up there. Look at how sky that crane, or extremely tall that crane is. It's over 150 feet from the sky, or 100. Whew. That crane's probably, geez, at least 15 tons. Whew. Okay. Yeah, I'm on Milwaukee Street, by the way. Just found that out. Now look at this. See? Here, let me back it down a little bit. There, see? Yeah, there's going to be a big building built there too. This is a pedestrian walkway. So people can cross the street. Because the original sidewalk has been blocked off by this. By this fencing that has to be up for safety purposes. Yep, here's proof we're close to the spot I need to point out. See? That's what it looks like, that whole area over there. It's been totally demolished. It's where Crate and Barrel was, and it was where Sears was. Sears was over that way, and Crate and Barrel was over that way. Well, I hope that was interesting to look at. And let me point out something that hasn't been demolished yet, but it's on the list to be demolished, I would assume next. See? It's all going to be gone. It's all going to be gone. Now that white building right over there, that doesn't count because that's part of the existing indoor Cherry Creek Mall. But this, and this. Had to get out of a bicycler's way. This is probably on the list next, and by next year, this time next year, it's probably gone. If it's not gone, it's going to show more clear evidence that it's being demolished. I bet this part's going to be very expensive to tear down. Probably over $2 million easily. It's going to be very expensive. Probably more like $4 million and up. Yeah, I think one of the first times I walked up and down this part of Cherry Creek, not Cherry Creek, well, yeah, Cherry Creek, but in reference to the actual street name, East 1st Avenue. From the 2400 block to the 3000 to the 3200 block was late August of 1983. I went with, God rest her soul, my sister Michelle. If it wasn't this side of the street, it was the other one. The other one near Fillmore and about a couple of blocks up. Yep. Yeah, 1983 was 42 years ago. Quite a long time ago. That's another thing I like about this area is when I flip things around to be able to film, I could be seen. Out in that part of 12th Avenue and Steele. I have to take a second to think about that. Down that part of 12th Avenue and Steele, going all the way till 3rd Avenue. But the lighting cuts in and out. It's mostly gone, at least 60% of the way. Well, there's going to be more. I have to stop filming for now because I have to go into Whole Foods and I have to get me a couple of important groceries. And then after that, I'm gonna call it a night for this part of Denver and get home. And when I get home, I'll continue the vlog. So just stay tuned. Thank you. Hi there, YouTube fans. This is Matt, a post-April 6th YouTube channel. I am really sorry that I did not do a continuation on September 30th like I promised. What was going on was once I got home, I had some important things to do, and I tell you, I was really tired. And not only that, I had to make a gosh, what am I trying to think here? Yeah, I had to double check something before I said it. I had to make sure to get to bed early because I had to be up at 11 o'clock in the morning, no compromise, so that I could get showered and shaved and go for a physical exam with my physician that I have been getting medical treatment from. The first tenure was from late 2018 or early 2019 until December of 2020. And then when I returned to living in Denver and left West Virginia, which I'm not going back. I'm sorry, I'm not going back. I got reestablished with the same doctor. I can't say his name, but I can tell you this much. It's one of the physicians that is with, I believe it's called HCA Inglewood Primary Care. Yeah. Very good physician. Named, well, I'm not even going to say his initials. Good man. In his early 60s, roughly. And, well, while I was there, he and I went over a lot of things. And the one thing is my A1C may be a little high. I may not be an outright diabetic, but I may be close to the borderline stage. And I believe what he's going to try to do is after the blood test that was performed while I was examined, he's going to try to make a medical diagnosis assessment on some medications I may have to start taking. And he's also interested in prescribing a weight loss medication. Well, I really better not say on YouTube because I'm worried I could get red flagged for that. But I'll tell you this much: it starts with the letter O, but I'm not going to say anything more because, you know, like I've already said, I do not want to be heavily cited by YouTube for discussing a medication I should not discuss. And anyways, after the visit was completed, the visit took a little more than an hour. I mean, that's just customary when you're getting an annual physical. I walked about 2-3 blocks, you know, first down that way and then that direction, over to roughly Sherman, South Sherman, and East Girard. It's a part of East Girard where East Girard is near the end, and you go across Broadway, and you're on West Girard. And the main reason why I went there, and the only reason why I went there, was I had to wait for a Route 35 bus that would get me to a stop that would be the closest to the apartment complex I live at. So what I did I was brainstorming on what to do next, you know, so I'm taking care of some things as much as possible on my days off and staying organized. What I finally decided to do, after carefully thinking about this for at least 5 minutes, was I waited for the 35, and then I got off on South Monaco and East Hamden, and I went into a famous grocery stores that is one of the ones part of Kroger. And I went in there, and I got some groceries that I needed, and then I set up an Uber ride to get back home, because with all the stuff that I had, it was going to be really a pain in the butt to get off on that bus and then walk over a block this way and then down a steep hill to where my apartment is located, you know, down way down at the bottom. And then what I did was I did eat something, because I was hungry by that time. I was really starting to get hungry. And then I got some other personal things done that I needed to. And I watched, I can't remember for sure because there's so much has been going on the last few days. I think I watched at least a couple of movies that I could watch for free. And then I crawled into bed and went to sleep. And the next day, what happened was I hear a knock on the door, because I set my alarm for 10:30, and at about 10:45 I hear a knock on the door, and I knew what it was about. It was the maintenance people coming in to fix 3 things in my apartment, because I'll show you one of them. I'm going to be really happy to see this big albatross gone, because believe me, it's died. It no longer works. Because there's the motor is so worn out, or something on the circuitry is so worn out, that when you try to turn it on, it trips the switch, one of the switches in the main switch box. And then when you turn it back on and you try to turn it on again, it trips it again. You know, it makes it go thunk. It turns off that big main switch, one of the main switches in the switch box, off. And then I tried to get back to sleep after they left, and they fixed a couple of other things. One was my towel rack, and the other one was they put in a screw in the door below the bathroom sink. And then I tried to get back to sleep after they left, and I just couldn't. So I made a couple of cups of coffee, and I got myself good and ready to go to work. And yesterday was my first day back at work after 3 days off in a row at the grocery store, and whew, I was just too tired to do anything. I just said, okay, I'm going to really relax and take it easy. I need to. And then today I slept really good, and I got fully rested. And then I got up and I did the dishes, made the breakfast, I showered and shaved. And even though I got a Uber ride established while I was still getting dressed and all of that, and when I was all dressed up and ready to go, I go outside and I wait for the Uber driver to show up, and he drives past me. He's driving one of those really nice cars where you press on something to pull the lever to get into the back seat. And I paged him. I sent a text message to him a second time to turn around and come back. He ignored it. And not only that, he was in an apartment complex that's, this close to the one where I live. But what did happen was he canceled the ride, and another driver that was the one that was closest to me, he was a little more than a mile away. He came over, and he's a good driver who's reliable and does a good job. And then what I had to do was I had to call the store and let them know that I was running late, so they didn't think that I was doing a no-call, no-show, or just going to show up really late or whatever. And the front-end manager that I was supposed to talk to was busy running a cash register. But what did happen was a lady who helped hire me, who saw to it that I was rehired, her and I talked for a little bit, and she was perfectly understanding of the situation. And then I showed up. I clocked in about roughly 11 minutes late, but I didn't get disciplined for it because, I did what I was supposed to do. I let them know right away I was going to be a little bit late. And I did a lot of work. And there was one guy, though, I really shouldn't discuss this, but I'll talk a little bit about it. He buys some milk, and he tries to persuade me to give him $300 cash back. And I said to him, no. I said, I could be arrested by the police. That's against the law. That's illegal. I'm not going to do that. And I had to tell him twice. And then after the guy left, I made a duplicate printout of the transaction, and I went over to my front-end manager, and in front of the front-end manager and the general manager, the big man, who is the big store leader of the store. They talked about it, and they just said, "No, you shouldn't have said the illegal thing, but I understand that is a bit suspicious. Thanks for letting us know." And I gave her the receipt. She says, "Okay, we'll keep that in case he comes back." So now, why don't I go ahead and talk about what else went on September 30th? I want to go back a few steps. Okay, before I started doing the actual filming, Okay, so before I started actually doing the film, I had to pause to get a drink because I was really feeling thirsty. Yeah, good old post April 6 coffee mug. I got an Uber ride from my apartment to Twisted Shout Records. And while I was in Twisted Shout Records, here's what I bought. I bought San Franciscan Nights, done by Eric Burdon and the Animals. And here is side 2. I listened to this song. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good song. It really is. Okay, so after that was completed, and I made sure to check out, because you see, I took an Uber ride because I knew if I did not take an Uber ride and I took RTD, I wasn't going to make it there in time, and I wasn't going to get there until after they closed. I wasn't going to see to it that happened, because that would have been pretty dumb, and I would not have been able to get a good record for a little more than $1. I took the price tag off because I didn't want to have Twist and Shout Records going to me, because they really like me. And after I paid for it and left, I went across the street to Tattered Cover Bookstore. Yep. It's right next door. I mean, you leave the store and you walk in there in about 30 seconds to a minute. It's so fast. And I went shopping around upstairs and downstairs. And here's what I bought. I bought 2 nice postcards. I actually accidentally bent them up. Here's this one, and here is the other one. Because in the back you can tell it's bent. Brother. Hold on. Okay, I put it back underneath the printer, and I think eventually it's going to, kind of straighten itself out so it's totally straight instead of like that. And then after I paid for that stuff, it was just a little more than $2. It was actually, well, I'll just go ahead and say it, about $2.21 with sales tax. I walked about 3 blocks that way to 12th and Elizabeth. And the first thing that I did was I went into Chef Zorba's and I got a grilled cheese sandwich with French fries, because I was just like saying to myself, hey, you get the cheapest meal you can get, because you're on a tight budget. Not as tight as when you were unemployed and living on SSDI, but you're still on a tight budget. And then what I did was, after I ate that, and I just drank some water, I didn't drink any soft drinks, because that can cause you, and I paid a little more than $10 with the tip. With the tip, it was more like a little more than $11. And then what I did was once I was done eating, is I went just a few doors down that way into Congress Park Market. Neat little small supermarket. It's really neat. And I got some information from a lady that I cannot talk about. And I also bought a pickle. Yeah, the pickles there, they're in a big jar that's, huge, like at least this, actually more like at least this big. I mean, they're huge. And it's a very good pickle for 50 cents. or 50 cents in tax, you know what I mean. And then what I did was I walked up 12th Avenue until I decided on the street that I wanted to walk down, and that happened to be Steele Street. And I just kept walking and walking and walking, and man, I really saw some really beautiful houses. And then what I did was when I got to 3rd Avenue, I turned down that way and went west until I got to the area where Neiman Marcus is, and then I crossed the street on to the opposite side of the street, and I filmed what I've already discussed, what you've already seen. And then after I was done with the filming, I went into Whole Foods and I got 3 different groceries that I needed. It all cost me about a little over $7. And then I walked back over, excuse me, I walked back over to the 83L stop, and I stayed on the 83L until I got to Steele. Then I got off and I went to the spot where I'm supposed to go catch the 73. And then I take the 73 until I get just a little past Hamden, and then I get off there. And even though it's a bit of a long walk, it was sure nice to get home. Even though I'm still in the middle of a 1-year lease here, I got a feeling that by next year I'm going to have some money to move, because I want to get back to that neighborhood. I really do. Okay, before I end the video, let's see how Isabella the cat's doing. Hi, kitty. Hi. You're taking a cute little cat nap, aren't you? Yeah. You want to be left alone so you can take your cat nap, huh? Well, you got your little cameo appearance on the YouTube channel. Yeah. You remember this if you've seen my YouTube channel. Well, if you haven't, here's what it is. It's a ZENY or ZENY or ZENY acoustic guitar. Now, I'm not as good as Eddie Van Halen, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, and some other people, but I'm learning. I'm going to try to improvise here a little bit and see what I can do. Doing a little bit of tremolo. Well, I think that's quite a bit of entertainment, and I'm not an accomplished guitarist, but I'm learning. I still got some more ways to learn, but with this left hand, and me suffering, I know with me mentioning this, a lot of you who are loyal subscribers know this, but if this is the first time you don't know this, up here, 14 years ago, I had a cerebral brain hemorrhage right inside this brain. Yeah. I was in intensive care when I hemorrhaged. And I wasn't, even though I was hospitalized for 11 weeks, I wasn't in intensive care from beginning to end. I've been thinking about this on and off like tens of thousands of times. The best guess I can make is that I was in intensive care for at least 5 weeks. And then they switched me, or 4.5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks, something like that. After I did some very careful counting, I was in intensive care from anywhere from 3.5 to 5 weeks. Because see, here's what happened. I was placed in intensive care immediately after I was released from the emergency room. This is on a little after midnight of April 7th. And on the date of the actual occurrence of me getting hit as a pedestrian very badly, where I had suffered severe head trauma, was April 6th. But it wasn't in the middle of the day, in broad daylight. It was 8 p.m. at night, when it was a little darker at night than usual when I was hit. And then I was there for 3.5 to 5 weeks. And then I was transferred from intensive care, which is the 3rd floor. I went from the 3rd floor to the 7th floor. And I was on the 7th floor for 10 days to 2 weeks. And then I went from the 7th floor to the 8th floor. And I was there for about, the best guess I can make is a week to 10 days. And this is something I know for absolute sure. There's no doubt about it. For the last 3 weeks I was on the 6th floor, and the 6th floor is what's called inpatient rehabilitation, or inpatient rehab. And I was there for 3 weeks until June 24th, 2011. Yes. And I didn't get to go back to my nice, cute little apartment on East Girard Avenue. I went to go live with my father in his house in Pueblo, Colorado. And what that address is, I'm not going to tell you, because Dad is going to be really mad. He's really going to have a mean, mean look on his face for me telling you. Oh yeah, can't tell you. And then I lived there for 5.5 months, until I got the settlement money, and then I moved to Evans in Quebec, and I lived there for 392 days until things collapsed really badly for me financially, and I went back to go live with my father. And I wound up living with him, and I wound up getting qualified for Social Security disability benefits through the legal hoops, that jumping through the hoops, so to speak, that we're supposed to go through to obtain it. And the other things you do on the side, you know, doctor's visits and questionnaires I filled out with Social Security Administration, let a lawyer step in and do things the way they're supposed to do it to make things happen. And for the last for the last 15 and a half months, I saved up quite a bit of money to move back here to Denver. The day that I moved back was August 12th, 2016, which just happens to be 9 years ago. And I'm saying this mostly for the purpose of people who have never heard me before and would find it interesting. Well, it is definitely time for me to end this video. Thank you everyone for listening to all this video and everything that I'm involved in. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you, and goodbye.